I am Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. So, people, we're going old school today. So it's going to take me a minute to. There we go. There you go. It's going to take me a minute to get this squared away. Mark had a issue with a family member that got surgery done, so he's going to be taking care of. Let me see if we can get this thing a little bit better. There we go, huh? There we go. So Mark is going to be taking care of his nephew. So he asked if I could do this old school, and I've done that once or twice. So I thought, hey, why not? It's happy Good Friday to all of you out here that celebrate Good Friday. I wish you a good Friday. It is a important holiday to me, but I know it isn't to everybody. Let's go one more time on this. See equipment, and let's see, is it dropping back down? It sure is. How absolutely frustrating. Hold on, people. Let's see if we can. It's probably the very large device that we keep for the purpose of our sound. The Yeti Blue requires a power source. This is just going to keep dropping on me all night long. Well, I guess that's how we're just going to have to go with it. So, since we're going old school, people, I'm going to have to do it old school. So, let me go over some rules in case you're new to the lifeboat. Number one. Sorry. Number one, we're not going to talk about politics. I obviously jumped off of that the other day, and we did one show where I did get somewhat political, but we're not going to talk about politics here in the chat. This is a channel that talks about sobriety, about living your best life. If the chat isn't about that, let's keep it out of there. Number two, it's not a religious channel. As I said, this is a Good Friday. It's a very important day to me and a lot of other people in the world. But it's okay to say I'm praying for you. It's okay to say God bless you, those kind of things. It's not okay to say my God is better than your God, or to tell someone why it is they're not going to heaven, or any of that type of stuff. It's garbage and it doesn't fly. Three, can we please not curse in the comment section? Every once in a while, someone lets something slip. I have, everybody has. Leisure, good to see you. Hope you're doing all right. But if we could try to keep it clean in the comment section, people, I'd greatly appreciate that. And lastly, mean people, they stink. So we want to go out of our way to just treat one another with a little bit of respect, right? Let's treat one another like we're kind. You know, we really are. We've been pretty good that way as a boat and as a crew. So we'd like to keep it that way. Sorry, people. But Squirrel has had her way with my desk. So I'm trying to get somewhat organized here. And I know that the picture quality is considerably different, and it's taken some getting used to for some people. Here's the thing. You know that there's been this big push to go from 4K to 5K. Hey, Stacy, good to see you. There's been a big push to aloha to you as well, Kathy, to go from 4K to 5K, and they talk about the 5K networks and just how great it's going to be. This camera shoots 10K, so there's really nothing out there yet that can handle it. When we do, like when I shoot in videos, I do have there's another channel now that I do. And it's the reason that I've never, given out an address or anything like that is because one really has nothing to do with the other. So I've sort of kept the two separate. But, when I shoot videos on there, and because I don't do anything live, when I shoot videos and I go to upload them, the amount of time it takes to upload a video shot in this kind of resolution is astounding. It really is. I mean, it takes a very, very long time. So I know it's taking a little getting used to, but I appreciate your patience through all that. I'm very, very pleased that you all have been patient. Someone want to toss me out a 5x5 and let me know that that what we're doing here is working. So it takes you about 10 to 15 seconds on the delay. There you go, Charlie Murphy. Appreciate you, my brother. And DJ Daddy is here. Alan Ballantyne, Miss V, the guy, Stacy Michaels, who I said hello to. It looks like the gang is all here for the most part. If you got here a little bit late, happy Good Friday, people. And if you are paying attention, it now says 2.28K. So we're rapidly closing in on that 300 mark, which is going to be exciting. Obviously, you know, we're doing this. Yay, Jimmy Pickles. Good to see you, Jimmy. Glad that you're here. We're not trying to keep track for, you know, score purposes, but it's exciting when the lifeboat grows because every person that comes on has the opportunity to, you know, to get sober. That's really, you know, the goal here is it's about sobriety, people. It's not about anything else. And let me go over a couple of other rules, just because we've got a ton of new people on the lifeboat, and some of you may have some things that you haven't heard. So I think we probably ought to knock them out. A long time ago, right, going back to September or October, there was a group of people that decided that they weren't fond of the lifeboat, and they've done everything they could to trash talk me at every turn. I could care less. I'm not going to tell you that when it first started, it didn't grind my gears and really upset me, and it did, because they accused me of everything under the sun. But the big one was that I'm a drug addict and I'm continuing to get high and all of this. It's just, you know, those who can do and those who can't troll. And that's really the way it is. But every once in a while, someone who doesn't know will reach out and say, hey, I saw something online that was trashing you. People, I don't care. Just, you know, being as nice as I can. You don't need to reach out and tell me that. I don't care. I really don't. The way that I've always looked at it is the more over the target you are, the more flack you're catching. And honestly, I'm not trying to be, you know, an ego guy or anything like that. I'm really truthfully not. But, you know, what it comes down to is jealousy. When all of this started, you know, the channel that was really going after me had about 200 people in it, and we had about 1,300. And he shot a bunch of videos talking about how we would never get over 300, and he was going to sink the boat and blah, blah, blah. Well, according to the people that went over there and looked, I think he's at 360 or 370 or something. So he's grown and done well for himself. I have not gone over to look at it because I honestly could care less. But the person that mentioned this, you know, gave me some info. So that's great. I'm glad that he's done well. We obviously have doubled our numbers, which is good. We're pretty proud of that. But people, we don't care. So if you feel like you're doing me a favor by letting me know that there's someone out there talking trash about me, you can thank you for the effort. I really appreciate it. But these people are insignificant, and you know, they're failures. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. They're failures. And people like that tend to get bothered by people that don't fail. You know, it's one of those things. Jesse Brown, good to see you, Jesse. Glad that you're here. So we really wanted to talk. I love you. All my neighborhood was crazy last night. I looked up at the moon, was real full. And it was, yeah, full moons tend to bring out some weird stuff, doesn't it? I've seen that for the majority of my adult life. I've noticed that when the moon is full, there's a lot of, you know, sort of ugly things that tend to happen. I don't know, brings out the weirdness in people, I think. But today we're talking about, I don't know, I probably could have called it a lot of things, you know, but understanding one another, getting along with one another, harmony, any of those things. I think the timing is good, and I don't just mean because we, you know, had some issues on the lifeboat, but people right now in the world. Everyone is doing everything within their power to divide us in every single way possible. And this is not a good thing for the world, plain and simple. Now, I'm not talking politics, and I'm not going to get into that, but it's not a good thing when people are divided. Whenever people can be broken into a couple of different camps or a couple of different factions, it damages whatever, the world, a channel, a family. Whenever you've got two factions that come at things from just a completely different side of the equation, good things don't happen from that, right? Obviously. So, if you turn on the news today, let's say you just came here from another planet and you knew nothing about what was going on anywhere on this planet, and you were just going to turn on the news to find out what was up, you would be 100% convinced that the planet was divided into two very separate camps, right? You really would. And you would believe wholeheartedly that that the races hate each other. You just would believe that, that there's just a lot of hate going back and forth between everybody on this planet. And I'll tell you what, don't buy into it, people. Don't allow them to start pushing us into camps. I can tell you straight away, and this is bottom of my heart stuff. I don't care what color any of you are, right? And for the most part, I couldn't tell you what color any of you are. It's a very cool thing here on the lifeboat because you really get to know people, but we're very rarely seeing them. We really just it's almost a great experiment in in human nature and in relationships, because wholeheartedly, I love the people on this boat. I don't have a problem saying that. It really is a fact. I love the crew on this boat, and it's really unique because, with the exception of one brief day, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, I guess. You know who will tell me? Seventh Son will tell me, because he was there. So Seventh, you can remind me of exactly when this took place. But there was a time when, almost by accident, about, I don't know, 8 or 9 of us, I think, all ended up on a group chat that had a camera function on it. So I've told the story on the boat before, but it looked like the Brady Bunch. Here's the story of a lovely lady, and it's got the like 3 rows of 3 all on top of one another, right? And I don't remember where I fell in that in the grid, but my face was on there, and for me, it was bizarre because all of you see me every day, right? But I don't see any of you ever, and to see people and put a face to the voice. I know Jesse Brown was there as well that day. It was really, really kind of cool. But which reminds me, we had talked the other night about the possibility of maybe eventually getting together as a crew. And people, that's something I'm going to push for, I promise you. As all of this this pandemic and crap is blowing over and the travel is getting opened back up, I really look forward to maybe doing a couple of spots. Yes, I was there. That's why I say wata to Fiona. Yes, she did. That was one of those days that we were picking on Fi for exactly how she speaks. But it was a fun day, and I think that it would be a great opportunity for all of us to get together, and I'm going to make it happen. I'm not exactly sure when the federal government is going to give me the go ahead, you're free, and knock me off of the federal probation, but that day is coming. And the nice thing is, the first chance of eligibility that I have to get off federal paper will be in either July or August. And I can't, yeah, Alan says we don't have an accent. Whatever, Alan. You have a huge accent, you Vegemite eating, well, he's my brother. I can't pick on him too hard. Her accent is awesome. It's the truth. But that'll be the first go around and the first chance I have to get off of federal probation. And if they don't let me off, it's going to be pretty odd, because you turn 40 July 18th. It's a great age. I'll tell you what, the guy is getting sober at the right time. That's perfect. And every Scoville, by the way, is born in July. Johnny's born in July. I was, my dad, my sister. It's just it's a busy time in the Scoville house. There really was a lot of us that were all born in the month of July. But once they have removed that piece of paper, that says they can control how much I travel, where I go, all of that kind of stuff. Boy, look at this. Leisure Beast is turning 50 July 7th. This July is going to be incredible. Half the boat is going to be celebrating birthdays. That's just great. But once that's good to go, I'm definitely going to be packing up and making some trips around the country, and we'll pick a couple of centralized spots, and we'll bring as many people together as we can, so that the crew can all meet one another. I think that that's got very, very serious potential to be just absolute magic, and to show the world that you can get together and party and have a great time without drugs and alcohol. I think that that's really a good deal. Brandon Taylor, 23 in just over a week. Awesome. I love it. Now, in terms of getting along and understanding one another, this is something that I think is a skill that has to be developed by people in recovery, and it's a skill that has to be developed fast. One of the great driving forces in relapse always starts, like we were talking about the other day, knowing when to walk away. And we talked about how small things can get blown into huge, overblown proportions. Very often almost always, these things start with misunderstandings. They start with the inability to understand one another and the inability to get along. And I'm perplexed. I really am. You know, this June will be my 7th year of sobriety. And one of the well, Michelle, we will be here for you in November. You do not have to feel like a loner. I promise you, we will be here to wish you a happy birthday. But in terms of trying to get along and trying to, to care for one another, people, today is a great example of that, is it not? Right? Today's Good Friday. And I'll be really honest. This is not a religious channel, and I don't shove my religion down anyone's throat. But this is one of the biggest days of the year for me as a believer in my particular belief. And I can be on this channel with people who I absolutely love, whether or not they agree with me on just about anything. And I think that the lifeboat is a prime example of just how people can get together if we concentrate on the things that we have in common, instead of concentrating on the things that divide us. If I were to come on here and I would say, well, Jesse's an atheist, so let's talk about that. And this person is doesn't practice Christianity or is a witch, let's talk about that. Or this person is, when we start to concentrate on the differences between one another, problems start to happen. The thing that binds us all, at least the thing that brought us all together, is that all of us have been in the same boat. We all know what it feels like to have a struggle saying no to a substance that we know is killing us. Having a difficult time stopping a habit that we know is destroying our life. It's the one thing that everybody here has in common. And because of that, the rest of it becomes academic. And when we get together for this 1 hour a day that we all get together, and I know some of you hang out on the Lifeboat page and you spend some more time with one another, but once a day we all get together and we check all of the bull crap at the door, right? I mean, I don't need to come out here today and say, this is what happened on Good Friday. And if you don't believe the things that, no, we don't need any of that. We don't need to come out and say, this is who I voted for. And if you didn't vote for that, or any of those things, it is so easy to get wrapped up in the things that separate us, especially when you realize that there are powers that be in this world that want nothing more than to separate us. They want nothing more than to break us into camps and then do whatever they can to keep those camps at each other's throats. There was a shooting in a subway in New York City just recently. And that shooting was done by somebody that really spouted some really ugly stuff on social media about how whites and blacks should never talk to one another. We shouldn't hang out. We should be separated and blah, blah, blah. If it had been anyone else that was spouting that kind of rhetoric, they would have gone nuts. But you see, they have a vested interest in slanting things in a certain direction. They want us to hate one another. And I hope that that's sinking in. Honestly, I hope that everyone gets that. Because the groups of people that are controlling the media want you to hate me. They want me to hate you. And the easiest way to do it is to concentrate on the things about us that are different. So if there's two of us in a room and both of us have heart, lungs, right, eyes, we all are just creations of whatever you believe. Insert your favorite belief here. We could be, as Jesse says, we're 95% similar, but they sure do try to make us concentrate on the 5% that makes us different. You're exactly right. If we're in a room together, hearts doing the exact same thing, pumping blood, right? Everything is, we're all just exactly the same. The difference would be the color of our skin, or what we believe religiously, or what part of the country we're from, or how much your parents made for a living, or how much my parents made for a living, or whether or not you went to school, or whether or not I went to school, whether or not you are someone that believes that we should have far stricter gun control, or someone you believe, one of you that believes that the best way to solve that would be to let everybody in the world have a gun. Honestly, I don't care about any of it. I really don't. I like to concentrate on the fact that no matter what's going on, there really is that 95% that makes us all the same. You, me, everybody. We, as people on the lifeboat, I think we've done a tremendous job from day one of really concentrating on the things that brought us all together, not the things that make us separate. And we've got people in 20 some odd countries that all seem to come together and get along just fine in spite of all of our differences. And while I'm on that subject, please, would somebody reach out to Swiss Vape? Haven't seen him in the boat in a couple of days. Whenever that happens, people starts making me a little nervous. And I know some of you are closer to him than others. So if you don't mind, reach out, just check on our man, make sure that he's doing all right. That would make me happy. But if we have come here from day one and concentrated on the things that make us all similar, and we've got people who come on this boat, they're not here every day. They come, they go, when they want to come back and visit, they do. But we've got people that will come and hang out on the boat who don't have a drug problem. I always found that amazing, because it really is the thing that at first we rallied around. But then what happened is people saw how you all treat one another. Really. The way that the crew treats each other became the product. Yes, the host talks about rehab, whether that host be me or Mark, or we're doing an interview, or we got Nylon or whatever. The conversation is always about how to remain sober. But it's not what is growing the channel, and it's not what is driving the channel. What is driving this channel is the fact that people come here and they see a group of people that don't seem to be divided at all. But amazingly, there's a ton of things that divide us. If you were to stumble on board the lifeboat, and this is your first time here, and you got into the chat and you just read the things that people were saying and everything else, and we were to say to you at the end, what do you think? Are they all Republicans or are they all Democrats? A person would say, I don't have any idea. Oh, but they're one, right? I mean, they're obviously one or the other, because how could people from both sides of the equation come together and get along? They all must be Christians, or they all must be pagans, or they all must be Catholic, or they all must be Jewish, or whatever the case may be. There are so many different diversities on this boat that if you were to just see the chats and the way that people treat one another, we are a walking, breathing, floating vessel of proof that shows without a shadow of a doubt that all can get along. Body of addiction, understanding. I like it. I like it. And that is from Yellow Stone Grown, I believe it says. Yellow Stone Grown. I'm sorry, people, my eyes are not what they used to be. Can't stay. I got my nephew. Just wanted to say I love you all. See you tomorrow. Thanks, Captain, for covering tonight. Please share the stream. See you tomorrow. Thank you so much, Mark. Take care of yourself. Really appreciate you. Yes, it does say Yellowstone Grown. I don't believe I've ever welcomed you to the lifeboat. Stone Grown, glad you're here. We are all glad you're here. Thank you. Really appreciate it. If you're real new to the boat, a gentleman whose comment I just read, that's Mark Wages. He's my partner here at the lifeboat. Mark has a channel called Wages World. Talks about space weather. Does some really cool stuff. Has a great way of taking something and making it quite understandable to all parties. And that's a gift, people, especially if I'm one of those parties, because anything science related has always made me feel defective. And I'm not being funny. You know, I have shared on the boat before that there are certain things in education that I really excelled at. And then there are some things in education that I really struggled with. And math and science would really be the two that really, really were tough on me. And I just had a lot of problems with numbers, you know, how, transposing them, writing them the wrong way, seeing them the wrong way, all of the above. And because of that, I sort of developed the other part of who I was. The communication part became very, very important to me. Science has and is destroying its credibility daily. You know what, Guy? I probably would agree with you, but boy, is that a rabbit hole. We could talk about that for months on end. Kathy, it's its own beauty for sure. Oh, I'm not sure what that was in reference to, but let me see here. Sorry, folks, bear with me. Oh, Yellowstone, aloha. It's beautiful place up there. Oh, I got you. Yellowstone grown, as in Yellowstone. I'm telling you, a little slow on the uptake today. I am sorry about that. Boy, Yellowstone is breathtaking. It really is. I have spent time there. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. I particularly like it in the wintertime. It's beautiful all year round, but I really love it in the wintertime. People, if you've never had a chance to go to Yellowstone, it's a place you should see in your life, to be sure. It is a place you should see in your life. But we are happy you are here. People, as we move forward, I can make you a promise. Hey, Jason Moots, good to see you. Little late's okay, happens to the best of us, and I assume you were probably taking care of your little girl, so that is totally fine, no problem at all. People, as we go forward, you mark my words, this is a promise. I wish I was wrong, but I'm not going to be. The next 3-4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks, are really going to get ugly in this country. We're going to see some tough times. You guys are probably aware of the fact that there was another shooting. I don't want anyone's opinion on it. I really don't. Because then I'll give mine and we'll end up a political channel. Doesn't matter because it's not germane to what we're talking about. Honestly, it's not. But the people that run this news are going to do everything within their power to divide us into two camps as much as possible over this. As sad as it is, they're foaming at the mouth. Never let a good crisis, go to waste. They love this kind of stuff. I know that sounds horrible, people, but it's the truth. They love it. This sells newspapers. This keeps people from turning the channel. So they're going to be beating this narrative to death. They are going to do everything within their power to separate all of us in the next couple of weeks coming forward. It's just going to get ugly. Now, it is money. And that stinks for everybody on this planet. It really does. And it doesn't even matter if you're in this country or not in this country, because these things have a way of spilling over into other countries, past borders and all that, especially when it starts here in the United States. We have, fortunately or unfortunately, we have that kind of influence on the world. So, and the really sad part of this, people, is that not only, do they seem to lick their chops and really sort of dig in, but it works. We saw this the last time it happened. It got really ugly. And you know something? If you're not careful, you'll start believing it. Really. They are excellent at making the narrative so strong that you feel like you got to take a stand in it, right? They'll say something and they will put it so far out there that you find yourself where you have to say, oh, I totally disagree, and let me tell you why. Once you start to engage in that, then really bad things happen. And I'll tell you, as bad as this is for the world, and make no mistake, hey, Keith, good to see you, bud. Keith from Andrew's Pepper Patch, one of my favorite people. Keith getting on pepper season, he's getting really ready to roll. But as bad as this is for everybody, people, and it really is bad for everybody, we're not everybody. We're not. We're different. Say what you will. And again, it doesn't make us bad people. It doesn't make us defective. It doesn't make us, losers or junkies or any of the labels that they want to put on us. But we're different. And because of that, we find ourselves struggling a lot of times with things, right? We were all sheep once. Thankfully, we love everyone. Well done. I like it. We don't cope as easily as other people do. It's one of the defining characteristics of people in recovery. And it's not to say that we can't, because I promise you, people, I cope with everything that comes my way. But I have to think about it in advance. I have to have a plan of action. And my coping mechanisms need to be so hard and fast and in place that if they're not there, then I tend to get into a meltdown, and I tend to, to really go all in emotionally on these kind of things. And I know that that's not unique for me. That's unique for addicts. So know that going forward. Know that the next 3 to 4 weeks are going to be pulling at your emotional strings in a very big way. And they're almost going to be demanding that you take a side. There are going to be people throwing around all kinds of words that are trigger words. We saw this once before. They're going to be calling people from different races names. It's never right. I don't care what side of the equation you're on. It's never right. Ryan, it's amazing how many people have become awakened. It's... I am of the firm belief that if the entire world could maybe spend a month a year treating one another the way that you all on the lifeboat treat each other daily, that we could solve all of the problems on the planet. I'm not even being funny. I mean, I think that the root of every single problem that we have worldwide is that we refuse to understand one another. There was a time in my life where I believed that the internet would save the world. I had a business when the internet was just getting up and off the ground. I mean, they were estimating at the time that about 8% of Americans were on the internet. 8%. So we were jumping in with both feet, and we were bringing the internet to a lot of people, and we were showing them how to get online and doing all those things. And I remember, doing some speeches. I was working as a public speaker, and I remember saying, this levels the playing field. This brings knowledge to places on the planet that never had a shot, right? This was an opportunity for somebody, regardless of where they were, anywhere in the world, all they needed was a hookup, and they would have the same chance at an education that somebody in Harvard does. Say what you will about the internet. It is all of the information in the world at your fingertips. Really, the things that the internet can do. And I remember back then saying, when the people from other countries meet one another through this web, through this World Wide Web, we're going to have world peace. When people finally realize that it's not us and them, we're all the same person. And I really believed that there was a shot at that. I don't know that I'm so sure anymore. Let's see. I think every person on Earth should carry a gun. That would correct the respect and the convo issues we're having as a human race. Miss V says, my brother does. Ryan, he was in prison for a while, but he earned the right to carry his pistol. That's that is awesome. It's not something that I was aware of. But you know what, people, wherever you stand on that, and I love you, Guy, I really do, but wherever we stand on that, it is one of those issues that dances real close to politics, and what it does is it gets people to weigh in on either side of that equation. And one of the reasons that we manage to stay the way we are is because we kind of keep that stuff out of the fray. The Second Amendment is one of those really hot button issues that drives people crazy. What I will say is this: there are a lot of people who I care deeply about that fall on both sides of that equation. I fall on one of them. I would never mention which side I fall on here, because the last thing in the world I want to do is alienate anybody on this boat or anybody on this crew. Exactly what I was talking about earlier. When we start talking about things like this, we're talking about things. You're right, it's an equalizer. I don't think that there's any doubt about that. But the subject matter in general, if there's a what do you think, either yes or no, we should be able to do this, or whether we shouldn't, we start to get into two camps. We start to get into the let's talk about what divides us. For instance, I'll just take the devil's advocate stance for laughs. If I were to say, wow, Ryan, I completely disagree. The reason that no one on the planet should have a gun, well, all of a sudden, everybody on the boat is going to go, well, I either agree with Ryan or I agree with the captain. And we would start going like this. And we would, no, don't say you're sorry to me, brother, because you haven't done anything wrong. In fact, I'm really glad that this has come up, because it's a great illustration point on exactly what I'm talking about. You understand? And here's the thing, truthfully, even if I did disagree, I'm not saying that I do, but even if I did disagree, I wholeheartedly believe that you and I could sit down and have a full conversation about it without ever arguing or raising our voice. And do you know why? Because we know the most important issue that binds us is so much bigger than that. And this is the greatest illustration for world peace, for family unity, for everything. I am so glad you said this, Guy. Really, Ryan, don't apologize for this, because this is perfect. It's such a great illustration. It doesn't matter if people disagree. There was a time, perspectives, there was a time where people could sit down and have a debate. Well, not an argument, we'll debate. And the beautiful thing was, at the end of that debate, whether you agreed with something that somebody said or whether you disagreed with something that somebody said, you were going to learn. Learning would take place. And that's gorgeous. I mean, that's as cool as anything that ever happens. And then the world took over. And they taught you that, use this one as an example again, because it's a great example. Let's just use Second Amendment stuff as the example. What they taught you is this: if you disagree with that person, well, then they're a loser. And if they're one of those people that thinks people ought to have a gun, they're a Nazi. Or if they're somebody that thinks that people shouldn't have a gun, they're a left-wing, it's name calling, right? It is the textbook what not to do in good communication. It didn't start that way, right? But it's that way now. When you watch the news, you will see politicians. I saw one today, and I wasn't watching the news, people, I swear to you. I was dropping off a watch. I have a friend that is much better at certain operations and fixing watches than I am, and there was something that was just kicking my butt, and it was a really good watch. And so I called him and asked him if he would mind, taking a look at this for me. He said, bring it down. I'll do it for nothing. I'd be happy to do that. So I ran the thing down to him. But while I was there, they had the television set on, and I'm telling you the gospel truth. I'm not even being funny. I don't know what news station it was. I've gotten to the point now where I have been away from news for so long that I can't tell you who the anchors are anymore. But whatever the news program was, they were interviewing a senator, and they asked him a question about something that a different senator had said, and he said, "Yeah, when you get right down to it, the guy's a weasel." And I thought, "Holy God, this is an elected official. Let's not talk about whatever the guy's opinion was, or say, you know what, respectfully, I disagree, and let me tell you why. Yeah, you know what, the guy's a weasel." And these are our elected officials. They're doing everything they can to not get along, people, and they're making it normal. They're making it normal to hate your neighbor for not voting for the right guy, or hating your neighbor because he believes in Second Amendment rights, or hating your neighbor because he believes that a woman should have a right to an abortion, or the other way around, believes that a woman shouldn't. How about if we concentrate on the crap that makes us all the same? Right? Hold on one second. The clarity in individual lives is intensifying. Diversity seems to be fueling it. The I don't know anymore, and it's frightening. It really is. I don't know anymore because words that I used to use all the time don't mean what they used to. For real. I used to talk about diversity. I'm not even sure I know how, red or blue, why not purple? You know what, man? Well played, Seventh. Truthfully. But see, people, and what Seventh Son just said, home run, right? Knocked it right out of the park. What if, just what if I believe that a person should have the right to bear arms, right? Let's say that I believe that, but I don't think that a woman should be allowed to. A transgendered woman should be allowed to compete against regular women in a sporting event. What if I believe those two things, and then on top of that, I believe something else that's left or something else that's right? What if I don't fit into one of the boxes? What if I actually make my mind up on every single issue as opposed to just saying, well, I'm this way, you're that way, right? Well, they don't allow that anymore, do they? Michelle, I love you. Seriously, what a great thing to say. I love people. You know what? Oh, purple. I probably love purple more than people then. That's so funny. But you have to be shoehorned into a certain box. Right? Right goes right, left goes left. So if you're a Republican, let me tell you exactly what your views are going to be. Or if you're a Democrat, let me tell you exactly what your views are going to be. Right? We have all been through the ringer. Who's to say anyone had it worse than another? Well played. Well played. And I'll tell you what, when did being a victim become cool? Because honestly, we've gotten to the point now where, the more victimized that you can say you have been, sort of the better. You see, commercial after commercial, and you see news programs and everything else. I'll tell you something right now, people. I'm never going to be a victim. Sorry. Not into it. I mean, I could sit right now and I could say, well, you know what? I got screwed by this or I got screwed by that. Guess what? I ain't having it. Anything bad that happened to me in my life, I brought on myself. Even the stories, and you guys know enough of my life, even the stories that I've talked about where obviously it wasn't my fault. It was still my fault. It was. I'd be sitting here BSing you if I told you it wasn't. And you know what? I'm not going to go down like that. I have no intention of lying to anybody on the lifeboat. But my ex-wife stealing all of my money is the perfect example. Like, she stole a bunch of cash, right? She went and stole my chance at a fresh start when I got out of prison. By the time I got out, there was, a lot of money, right? 5-digit kind of money. Not 5 or 6,000. I'm talking about a ton of money. Victimization causes intoxication. Boy, that ought to be on a bumper sticker. Boy, that ought to be on a bumper sticker. Did somebody else catch that? Please tell me someone else heard that. Victimization causes intoxication, in my opinion. Well, your opinion is awesome. I'm telling you, that is awesome. Own it. Own it. Don't be a victim. For real. So 10 digits, or I'm sorry, 5 digits, 10 digits. Yeah, she stole about 70 million. Um, we're not talking 8, 9, we're talking, way above 10, 15,000. But guess what? If I had been the right person, oh, Kathy, I'm not sure that you were listening to anything I said, but that's okay. Um, what I was saying was the reason my wife did what she did is because I was doing drugs. I was acting like a scumbag. Anything that happened to me, this was an illustration, Kathy, where I said the worst things that happened to me in my life, regardless of whether or not they were something that looks on the surface to be something that I wasn't even in the wrong on, I brought on myself. That was what I was talking about, hon. Wasn't blaming but anyway, I digress, and I don't intend to try to. Anyway, victimhood. I don't know. It's become very popular. It really has. It's become very, very popular. And in some circles, it seems to have become cool. The concept is pretty simple, people. What unites us? What unites us? I don't mean on the lifeboat. We know what unites us here. It's pretty obvious. What unites us as people? Because we know right off of the top of our head the things that divide us. Nationality, religion, right? You can go through all of that stuff. We all know that that divides us. But the question is, what unites us? Yeah, we all want the same thing. We all want seventh. Victimhood, a snowflake's rite of passage. Be a really, really great bumper sticker as well. Michelle, I like it. Compassion, empathy, respect, love. Right? I don't care what part of this planet you're from. You want to see your kids do well. Right? I don't care what part of this planet you're from. When you fall in love and you have that feeling that you can't live without the person that whose affection, you're desiring. It doesn't matter where you're from. It's all the same, right? There are so many things that make us the same. How about something really tasty, right? How about a really good meal? How about a great nap? How about the breeze blowing on your face? How about watching a sunrise and a sunset? Think about how much we are all the same. It doesn't matter your nationality, it doesn't matter your race, your religion, right? Your gender. How much of us is exactly the same? The void in our chests being filled. Boy, Yellowstone grown, I hope you continue to come back to the lifeboat. I think that sunset on the ocean is wonderful. Nice, Miss B. I think I speak on behalf of everyone when I say we would love to have you here on a regular basis, because this is the kind of interaction that makes the boat great. And your comments are valued. But we have a way of concentrating on all of the things that really make us different and making those things epic, right? Making those things massive, don't we? And it shouldn't come as a shock that we do, because there are groups out there that determine what you look at, what you hear, right? I mean, think about it. They decide what you're going to. People, it's crazy. I was sitting talking to my partner today, and we were talking about watches because that's what we do. And we were discussing a very, very obscure brand of watch. They are no longer in business. You know, they've been out of business a long time. So there are still some around, very few, and they're vintage. But he had never even heard of the company, and I was explaining it to him, and then I turned my phone on, and right there on the phone was the name of this watch company, which, by the way, was in business for maybe 6 months. It was a very odd story. But I mean, the watch company itself, it was come and gone in a matter of 6 months. And there's only a handful of them on the planet. It's very, very rare. But me talking about it, the phone listened, and there was an ad telling me that there was a couple of people on the planet that might have had one and might be willing to sell it. Jesse says, makes you stop being judgmental about the choices that people from different cultures make. It made my empathy for all people grow in huge ways. I'm sorry, hold on one second. Yeah, sorry, I was just making sure I wasn't missing anything in the comment section. Yeah, the things that bring us together. We're all the same, yeah. We're all the same, different. That's awesome. You're right. We are all the same, wildly different. And hey, Noise Opera, good to see you, my brother. Glad that you're here. I haven't seen you in a minute. Good to see you. People, going forward, as an addict, I knew I was on the verge of death, as every addict is. Boy, no question, right? And there's never been a time on the planet where being an addict is more dangerous than it is right now. The drugs that are flooding into this country are killing people at such an alarming rate. I know that if you're new to the boat, you may or may not have heard me go off on one of these rants, but the number one cause of death in the United States of America from 18 to 45 is drug overdose, which is terrifying. It really is. It's absolutely terrifying. But going forward, it's going to get ugly. And you're going to say, boy, Tommy talked about this, didn't he? You watch. We've all seen this show. I'm not Nostradamus. But you know exactly what's happening, right? The powers that be, if things aren't great, and I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, but if things aren't great, then the first chance they get to take your attention off of things like double-digit inflation, $6 a gallon gasoline, the first chance they get to take your mind off of something like that, they're jumping on it with both feet. And if they've got to cause riots that will burn down a half a city in order to do that, they don't care how badly they divide the world in the process of covering up the real news. So I am telling you right now that the next few weeks are going to get ugly. They're going to get really ugly. And it's going to be that news all day, every day, talking about just how much we all hate each other. Right? That's what's going to happen. They are going to be talking about just how much we hate each other. Yeah, look over there. Nothing to see here. Da, 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 right? Da, 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 da. Sleight of hand. We've seen it before. There was a past president who literally bombed a country because he didn't want the world to find out he was cheating. We have had a very, very bad run with how the press is manipulated. We're going to see some ugly stuff in the next 3 or 4 weeks. Not here. Not here. And I don't mean we're not going to talk about it here on this boat. What I mean is that the Dog and Pony Show, well done. What I mean is, I hate no man. Is that what that just said? I hate no man, only addiction. I like it. Here's what's going to happen. Yeah, I don't hate anybody either. But here's how we're going to beat it here on the boat. We're going to beat it by not letting that crap into our lives. Right? Take a vow today. Not to me. Take a vow to yourself. I'm not buying any of this. I don't care which side of the aisle you're on. I really don't. I mean it. But I'm not going to let anyone tell me that half of this country hates the other half, because I don't see it. I don't. There's too much that we have in common. And I see that every day. And maybe it's because I'm surrounded by the greatest group of people that I have ever seen in my life. Maybe it's because I have been blessed to be the captain of this boat and be around all of you people. But I see the best of humanity. I don't see the worst. And I see that all of us are far more in tune with one another than we are separate. What was that bell sound? You're not going to believe me if I told you. That bell sound that you just heard a moment ago. That was Flamin' Jackson telling me that he loved me and that he missed the live feed. Truthfully, he's a little bummed out that he missed the live feed, but he wanted me to know that that he still loved me, and it was nothing like that. I assume it's probably because it's Good Friday, because he's kind of into that. Yeah, you gotta love Flamin'. He just, honestly, people, Jackson is one of the kindest human beings in the entire world. He is living proof that when they try to divide us, there are too many people like him on this planet for us to be what they say we are. You know? We all care more about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that they will allow, I guess. You know what? Flamin' Jackson, I was just talking about you. What do you know? Speak of the devil, and he's here. Well, you're not the devil, but you know what I'm saying. Flamin' Jackson, I'm glad you're here, my brother. DJ Daddy-O summed it up. He said, Flamin' is good people. He really is. The Major says, no, I thought that was the microwave. Tell you what, the microwave is about, I don't know, 50 feet, 60 feet, and 3 doors away. So nope, that wasn't a microwave. But all right, people. This, I got to tell you, by way of full disclosure, the show that I put together today isn't the show that I did. The show that I put together today was very, very different. But I'll tell you something. I was so affected by listening to that crap in the it's an antique shop is what it is, but there's a guy that works in watches in there. But listening to what they said on that show literally drove me insane. Going deep diving for some addicts will understand this show or trailer. Just saying, maybe check out The Waking Life. It's on YouTube. Yeah, you know what? You people can check it out and let me know what you think. And the only reason I'll have someone else check it out, Yellowstone Grown, I have, I'll probably just call you Yellowstone because it goes quicker. But Yellowstone, I've got a problem with my brain. And if depending on how things are edited, I have a real difficult time watching them. So usually I get someone to give it a shot and tell me what it's like. And then if it's not going to give me a migraine or really mess me up, then I will, then I'll end up going and watching it. Yellow works. Okay, we'll go with yellow then. All right, people. As I was saying, this show is a little different than what I had planned, but I don't want to see this tear anybody apart. I don't want to see the crap that they're going to pump and put on the front page of every newspaper and put on every single 30-second clip around the clock. The chyron going across the bottom. You all hate one another. You all hate one another. You all hate one another. You know the drill, right? You know the drill. Systemic. Our hatred is so deep. It's inside of all of us. Guess what? I ain't buying it. I love everybody. And I don't just mean the people on this boat. I love everybody. Yeah. Much love. Thank you for all the love. Yellow, thank you for being here. We really appreciate having you. And we hope you're back because this was, I think this is a good fit. I really do. I mean, we'd love to have you. You're a good fit for the crew. You're the kind of people that that the lifeboat searches out. Yep. And very often are lucky enough to find. The major says, be strong. Great advice, people. He's right. Be strong, because it's going to get ugly here in the next couple of weeks. Don't let it worm your way into your brain. I like a meeting like this any day. Well, we have a meeting like this every day. We do this every day, 6 o'clock West Coast time. I think we've missed, I don't know, a couple in the entire year. We don't miss many. This is my therapy, and I'm very, very lucky that I got a lot of people that allow me to do this and that are kind enough to show up every single day. Really means the world to me. And Kathy says, aloha and hugs, much love. Well, much love back at you, and I apologize if I sounded like I was coming off as a victim. I assure you I'm not. I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and on the other side of the glass, my partner ought to be there, but he'll be here tomorrow. And we will be back tomorrow evening. Same bat time, same bat channel, right here, 23 hours from now. Between now and then, do me a favor. Reach out and try to save somebody, huh? It's the right thing to do. And of course, before we end, you know what time it is, everybody? It's time for a cat in the basket. All right, everyone. Say goodnight, Squirrel Nut. Hey, it's a cat in a basket. That is one lazy animal. It's funny, all I got to do is put on the captain's hat and she jumps in the basket. I swear to you, the cat knows when it's time to go to work. All righty, everyone. We love you. See you tomorrow night. God bless. All right, Squirrel. We're out of here.